Hello everyone and welcome to another session of from Redfearn's Bar on this very fine Thursday evening. Brought to you by Barnsley Football Club Sports Trust. We've been here throughout this lockdown interviewing former Barnsley players, managers, and we even had a CEO on 1 week. So we're doing a good job. All those interviews are streamed live and can be fully watched in full on our YouTube channel, which really is the easiest way to stay up to date with reminders, notifications, and all the future guests we've got lined up. And for those of you that have asked, we've still had no solicitors let us through the door after those 2 hours with Andy Ritchie and Rick Alden last week. So we're still alive and kicking. Squeezing into the first 11, as this is our 11th session of Live from Redfearn's Bar. We've got a former Reds player who always ran his blood to water in the 133 games he played for the Super Reds. He came to us from north of the border in 2010, took the town into his heart, and from what we can gather, definitely added something into the dressing room at Oakwell. Good evening, Jim O'Brien.
How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good, thank you. How are we and how's lockdown life?
It's okay. Just surviving, just like everyone else, really. It's try to keep the mind occupied more than anything, and plenty of stuff to be getting on with. So, it's challenging, but it's just one of those things.
Now, you're the only guest we've had so far that's still playing, other than Luke Steele. What's the latest from Notts County in terms of getting started again, training, playoffs, promotion?
Just day to day. We're waiting to hear, and a lot of guesswork going on at the minute, and we're waiting for the meetings to take place with the league and the EFL and stuff. Obviously, be promotions and relegations and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot to figure out for them, but just getting our programmes through and try to crack on with that as much as possible, and just wait to hear what's happening. Really. I'm not very optimistic about it, but it'd be a shame if we didn't get to at least have a pop at the playoffs, because we've had a tough season, and it's just one of those disappointing things.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. As a team that's sitting third in the league, how are you and your teammates feeling about either playing behind closed doors or avoiding the season?
Well, I think we'd like a pop at it, to be honest. Like, we'd rather play behind closed doors than the season get void, and us sitting in third, and we had good momentum as well. We come off the back of a good result against Barrow, and we were on a good run. So I think from that point of view, like, the momentum was with us. So to not to finish off a long tough season would be very frustrating, and 2 chances at going to Wembley as well, which would be disappointing, because we're still in the semi-finals of the FA Trophy as well. So, I mean, especially at my age, 32, and never played at Wembley, and the chance maybe to play at Wembley might never come again. So, to have 2 opportunities this season, if it was taken away from us, then it would be very disappointing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, look, I know you're in popular demand right now after that little feature in the Chronicle. So thanks for giving us this next hour. We're going to go back to the Celtic days and work from there, if that's all right.
Right, mate, aye.
So you joined Celtic as a teenager. Was that always the dream first club to play for?
Yeah, it was like when I was 12, I was a big Celtic fan growing up, and then that opportunity came, and there's a couple of other teams in Scotland, but it was always just Celtic. And like I say, when that opportunity came, it was always going to be them. So I was there for a long time, and it was a great education in football to have the coaches that I worked with, and the players that I came through with and stuff. It was a great education.
And which Celtic players were coming through the ranks with you at that time?
We had Aidan McGeady, who went on to obviously play for Everton in the Premier League. Played with Spartak Moscow. Charlie Mulgrew went on and done well. He's at Blackburn now. But like most of our youth team from those days, I'd say 90% went on to have a career in football. So like I say, it was a good upbringing.
And it was Mark McGee that took you to Motherwell, a great striker and successful manager, but he was an old adversary of Barnsley from his Wolves days. What was Mark McGee like as a manager? And were any other Scottish teams in for you at that point?
I did a couple of loan moves, one semi-successful and one not successful. And then I went back to Celtic, and it was just a case of they didn't really they had to offer me something, or they didn't get any compensation from me. But I could tell with the offer that they didn't really want to keep me. So Mark McGee was good friends with Gordon Strachan at the time. So the opportunity to go to Motherwell came, and I went and trained, and they offered me a deal, and it was sort of away you go into the big bad world. You know, the training setup obviously isn't as good as what it was at Celtic and little things like that, but I loved my time at Motherwell. It was amazing. Done a lot of growing up, moved away from home, even though it was only 40 minutes away, got my first house and stuff like that. So a lot of growing up was done. But Mark McGee was a bit old school, but straight down the line, really. Simple messages, and had a bit of a slow start there as well, and thought it could have went another way, you know. I didn't get in the team till around about Christmas, similar to my start with Barnsley, really. Didn't get in the team till around about Christmas. Then from then on, never really looked back.
So you had 2 seasons with Motherwell, most of it playing first team football and getting in the side, and you made the PFA Team of the Year in that last season before you moved. How good were you playing that season, and how proud were you to get nominated?
Yeah, I think it was. I know how the awards normally work. I think it was the managers that voted for that Team of the Year, so it was like they put a team in that. And for me, it was brilliant because it was all Celtic and Rangers players that were in it, except one was Andy Webster. He was on loan at Dundee United, but he was on loan from Rangers. So really, it was all Celtic and Rangers players and me. So that was like a really big thing for me, and it was amazing. Somebody quite young as well, and it was nice to be sort of recognised by the other managers in the league.
And when you were at Motherwell, you tasted European football with those crazy July qualifying rounds. I can ask these questions because I know you ended up winning both these games over 2 legs, but you won the second leg 3-0. But did you play in that 1-0 defeat at home to tiny Welsh team Llanelli?
Probably. Can't remember much about the home game. I remember the away game. We played it at the Scarlets ground, but I can't remember much from the home game. But I think in terms of that, like because the games were so early, like the rustiness is still there. It's like pre-season. It's got that sort of feel about it. I think we played our home games at Airdrie Stadium as well because our pitch wasn't ready. So it wasn't even like it didn't feel like a European game. Especially in those like the earlier rounds. I think it was like 3 or 4 qualifying rounds we had to go through. But the only good thing was there wasn't a lot of running in pre-season because the qualifiers was a pre-season really. But yeah, when you're going into the games, you're really rusty, and you're not gelled with your teammate. Your ball's going under your foot, and you've obviously got to travel to these obscure places, and it's a bit strange. So it was a bit weird, a bit of a slow start, but it was a good experience.
Well, my next question is in the next round. Where on earth in the world is Flamatari?
I think Flamatari is in Albania.
Right, I've not Googled it deliberately.
No, that's I'm sure it's Albania. We went there. Again, don't remember much about those games. I remember it was roasting hot. I think we played on a pitch, and it was like the grass was so dry that it was like astrograss, and it was so long that it was folded over, and it was all flat. So it was like flat, but your foot could disappear, and it was like there was obviously no money in over there, or we even had water breaks. It was that hot, like halfway through the first half and stuff like that. Again, don't remember much about the game, other than we probably struggled, and but yeah, it was an experience just traveling to these places and being on, seeing how a club does the European stuff on like a budget, because I'd travelled in Europe with Celtic, and everything was unbelievable, with chartered flights and the best hotels and the best stadiums, and so like to see how it was done. I think it actually in the end it cost Motherwell money to play in those away games, which for a club that size isn't ideal.
Well, I think you summed it up pretty well, because you lost the first leg 1-0 and then won the second leg 8-1, which is just completely different.
Probably by the second leg we maybe had another week or two training under our belt, and obviously on home soil, it's not as hot. I think probably the heat played a big factor in us not doing well over there. But yeah, we could tell we were a better team than them, and we had it was a new manager that came in as well. So, and he was trying to bleed a lot of young lads into the squad at that time as well, which was great for us. But yeah, it took a while to gel, but we knew we were a better team than them. So obviously when we got them at home, it was a good result for us.
And safe to say those Motherwell seasons were successful for you, but then in the summer of 2010, you signed for Barnsley and Matt Robbins. Were we speaking to you from January onwards? How did that move come about?
I remember that Mark came up to watch me when we played Celtic at Celtic Park. So it's not a great game to come and watch me, do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of I won't have a lot of the ball or whatever. So I met him after the game at a hotel and stuff, and we were just chatting, and I remember him saying he liked me and he wanted to bring me in, and that was it really. It was just a general chat, and he was just letting me know that they'd been watching me for a bit and they wanted to take me, and it was obviously the championship, and you know, it was a big draw for me, the championship. So I think I signed pre-contract like the second last week of the season or something like that.
Yeah, and everyone seems to speak really highly of Matt Robbins. Did he impress you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that first meeting at the hotel. Like, I was sitting like as close to where this screen is away from him, and I had to sit forward because I couldn't really hear what he was saying. He was really quiet and sort of within himself, and he just had that sort of Man United class about him. You know, you could tell he played there, a big club, and he had good ideas, and I liked what he had to say, and it was a positive meeting for me and my agent at the time, and we were just obviously in the car on the way back, just chatting, and so it seems like a good fit, and see what happens close at the summer.
So you moved south of the border, start a season at Oakwell. How quickly did you settle in, and which players did you bond with first?
Didn't settle in quick. I tried to get a jump start on things. I came down, and after I'd signed my pre-contract and stuff, I came down and I started looking at houses because I wanted to sort of focus on have the ball rolling and stuff like that. Once the season or pre-season went back, I wanted to get a sort of jump start and stuff. So I was down in the summer a couple of times and I was looking at houses and stuff like that. It wasn't a great start because I got injured after I think it was the first pre-season game. Pulled my thigh in training. So not a great start. Took me a while to get up to speed. I got back fit 6 weeks later. Got up to speed in terms of that, but never got up to speed in terms of with the season and the Saturday Tuesday games. That was a big thing. That was probably the hardest thing to sort of coming for Scotland. Like, you don't really get that a lot. So having that was a real eye opener. And then, in terms of like bonding with people, Steely and Precy really, which is a bit strange because I don't normally. I like to hammer the goalkeepers, do you know what I mean? But they were sort of seasoned pros and been there, done it, and Steely offered to a chance to move in with him just until my house was ready and stuff, and that was great. So we had it off straight away, and him and Precy were quite close, and really like Precy's his sense of humour and stuff, quite dry, northern lad, and quite similar to the Scottish. So sort of just had it off for there really, and had a few nights out, and still chatting now.
And all football fans love to compare the Championship or League One to Scottish football. So when you started playing for Barnsley, how did you compare the SPL with the Championship in terms of levels of quality and football?
The biggest thing was there's a lot of turnovers in Scotland. Well, at that time there was anyway. The thing I noticed was you could give the ball away in the Championship and you could maybe not touch it for another 5-10 minutes. In Scotland there was a lot of turnovers and it was more attack, you know, have a go, use have a go, we'll have a go. Championship was a lot more, especially at the higher end, a lot more possession based, and like I say, you could give the ball away and no touch it for another 5-10 minutes. So that was the big thing. sort of taught you to be better with the ball, or a little bit safer in the right areas and stuff like that. So I think that was a bit. The biggest thing was definitely the Saturday Tuesday game, the amount of games, and I think when I sort of got up to speed and got into the team, it was around about Christmas, and we had like 4 games in 9 days, which was something. It was ridiculous. I'd never experienced anything like that before. So that was fun on the body.
And your first goal for Barnsley was a 6-yard screamer to put us 2-1 up against Leeds in a game we won 5-2. Can you remember that game, the goal and the atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it was as far as 6 yards out. I tell people I'm deadly from a yard out with no goalie. I mean, I don't score a lot of goals, but for my first goal to be against Leeds was brilliant, to put us in front as well. And I just remember the atmosphere was unbelievable. I think they brought like 6,000 fans. So it was a big game for us. We weren't used to like having that many people behind that goal in the away end. But I just remember the pointy end when the ball's obviously popped to me. I couldn't put it in quick enough. But that was good to get off the mark. That was sort of me sort of introduced then to, right, that's right, I can try and settle in now and get going really. Yeah, that was special. That's probably my favourite goal for Barnsley. I mean, there's not many, so but that's probably my favourite one.
And it was all changed that summer as your second season starts with a new manager in Keith Hill. Were you surprised when Mark Robins resigned?
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult one because I owed Mark a lot. He sort of took a chance on an unknown coming from Scotland, and I remember I think I was in Ireland on a stag do, and seen his name pop up on my phone, and he said he was leaving, and I don't know what was. Might have been something going on behind the scenes or something to do with budgets or something like that. But I just remember being really disappointed that he was leaving. But yeah, again, it happens in football, and the club moved on, and obviously went on and to bring Hilly in.
Yeah, because the squad took a different shape with new signings coming in, 2 or 3 moving on. Under Keith Hill, were you all in good spirits that pre-season heading into a new one?
I mean, you're always optimistic, and you always think as a player, you always want to show the new lads who are coming in that you're a good player, and they'll probably be thinking the same. The dynamic always seemed to change every summer at Barnsley. There was always a big turnover of players. I think my first season, I think when I first signed, there was like 12 new signings or something. And I don't think it was much different the next season. A lot of lads came in that Hilly knew, and he knew of them, and either he'd worked for them before or he'd kept a close eye on them. So a lot of the dynamic sort of changed in that respect with the turnover of players. But it's just a case of get on with it, and right, let's see. And you've got a new manager to impress, and let's have a go. So it was good. But I think the thing with Hilly is, if you worked hard under Hilly, you know, he was all right with it. He was okay with you, and you wouldn't go far wrong with him if you put a graft in for him. So I think in that respect, I was probably all right.
Oh, for sure. And then we only won 2 of the first 10, but we only lost 2 of the first 10 as well. Can you remember being frustrated by all those draws at the start of that season?
Yeah, it was like we were just nearly there. There was games that were at. I mean, it's all relative, really, because there was probably games where we didn't really deserve to get in at the game, and then we ended up nicking a draw. But then there was other games where we just couldn't put the ball in the net, and it's always the way in football. It's just you get into a rut sometimes, and we just couldn't get out of that rut, and it's just a frustrating period. But you just stick to what you know is the right thing, and hopefully you come out of it.
We then didn't draw again until the end of March when we beat Leeds at Ellen Road. We beat Leicester away, Leeds again at Oakwell 4-1. Did it feel like things were coming together after that run of draws? Was like we were becoming a really good side?
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, like, we were always the underdogs. So, like, going into these games like Leicester and Leeds and stuff like that, no one really gave us a chance, you know. So we knew if we worked hard and stuff, then, you know, we had good players who could go get us something at the game, and that was always sort of the message. And again, we're always up against it. And when you see the budget of some of these clubs and to what we had, was pretty scary sometimes. And I'm sure there was lads, go back to Middlesbrough, there was lads up front on 25, 30 grand a week. And that was nowhere near what we had, So, so we done okay, and just frustrating that we were always sort of having to work really, really hard just to get something, like a draw even sometimes. And but I go again, that's the way it was. We were sort of punching above our weight a little bit,
And when we were on that good run and it kind of came to an end, but how did it feel when we lost Vazte, Drinkwater and Butterfield to injury all at the same time?
Obviously, Drinks was obviously a great player for us in terms of like keeping the ball for us, but then you've got Jacob and Vazte, who are really their match winners. Entering about the box, they can stick one in the top bin, and so to lose them was really disappointing. And I think that the Butts got injured in the Leeds game, I think, as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Michael Brown kicked him off the pitch.
I think I was injured that game because I remember watching the game. I never played that game, but there you go, injured again because I'd done my shoulder, hadn't I?
Yeah.
First game of the season at Rochdale in the Cup, done my shoulder. So I was out for 12 weeks again. But yeah, I remember, like, again, that big losses for us because they were really good players. They were big teams and big players in the team for what we wanted to do and the way we wanted to play. And like I said, to lose two match winners like Butts and Vaz was a massive blow for us.
Yeah, because it felt like to Barnsley fans, like we just lost too much quality in one go, that transfer window, and then the results started tumbling. We lost a lot of games from that moment until the end of the season. When you boys got back together in the summer, was the mood positive? Did you feel like you could forget the games before and crack on with the new season?
Oh yeah, everything was positive. We stayed up. I think was that the season that we stayed up because Portsmouth went into administration.
There was that, wasn't there? Yeah.
But in that regards, we were lucky because I think we just finished above Portsmouth, if I'm right. So I think we sort of knew we were a bit lucky in that regard to still be in the Championship. But I just come back with a clean slate, fresh mentality. I think that we managed to keep majority of the squad together, so we probably should have got off to a better start, and I think it's just a case of turn up and see where everybody's at and just crack on, really.
Yeah, because Keith ultimately left us. We had a handful of wins early doors, but then we had this really bad run of defeats. Were you and the players expecting the club to make a change at that point?
I think we could sense it, but we knew that I think Hilly was he got on really well with Ben Mansford at the time. I think they got on really well, so we were sort of don't know what's going to happen, and I think we could sense it though that he was under pressure. And then obviously when he lost his job, it was really disappointing because I liked Hilly. He was a good guy in that. You never really like to see anyone lose their job, So I think the older you get as well, you sort of realise that these guys have got families and bills to pay and all the rest of it. So if you've played a part in somebody losing their job, it's not really a nice feeling. And
was it always going to be Flicker who took over in your opinion, or how did the squad feel?
I don't know. I think it was like maybe a sort of kick up the backside, really, in terms of like you don't really realise how good you've got it sometimes when you've got a manager that you like and the training's good, and you hear stories about managers at other clubs, that have got you in every day or you're doing triple sessions, and so sometimes you don't really realise how good you've got it. And I think when Hilly left, might be wrong, but I think Flicker's got it sort of interim steady the ship sort of thing and see how it went. And to be fair, it must have been a hard decision for him to say like how close him and Hilly were as well at the time. So, difficult decision, and I think it just gave us a kick up the backside that we needed, and thought, well, let's do our best for Flickers and see where it takes us. And I think it worked out really well in the end.
So I know you touched on this in the interview you gave on the club website a few days ago, but what was it that changed that sent us on that amazing run from January onwards? We only lost 4 games, I think, from then till the end of the season.
Flicker's he just got us back to basics and playing basic. I think we had we had a good squad, but we weren't world beaters, or we weren't top end, and we just made it really simple. Chris O'Grady was basically get the ball into Chris's feet or his chest, and we'll play from there. And we just played in. I mean, it sounds like Route 1, but it wasn't Route 1 at all. It was like then the amount of times, probably from the January onwards, I'd love to see the amount of times the ball went to Tom Kennedy and he just dropped it into Chris O'Grady, and then we just went and played there. And we went through a stage as well where we had a good sort of system, because we had a player like Jason Scotland who was frightening. Like anything round about the box was frightening, but his fitness maybe wasn't up to where it used to be. And so we got to a stage where Flicker was saying, just grind them down, grind the teams down. We'll get Jason on, and he'll get us a goal. And the amount of times that he come on, like the 60th, 70th minute, and got us a goal, the things were just working. And once you see that you're working and they're working, and you get that confidence, and you just start doing them more and more, and it's sort of, you just get into that sort of habit of rolling into games. And again, being the underdog, where teams are expected to steamroller you as well in those games, we always seem to do well, because I think they maybe sort of thought we were a soft touch as well. So we seem to do well.
You're right, Jason Scotland, he was an absolute machine from 70 minutes onwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think Flicker's just sort of got back to basics. When Jason wasn't in the team or something like that, like I think Flickers has pulled him and said, look, we'll just give me what you've got for half an hour, 20 minutes, get us a goal. If it's working, we'll just stick with that. And obviously it's disappointing because you want to be starting games, but at that point I sort of think Jason sort of knew his role within the squad, and he was great running about the place, great pro, obviously being at a high level, and he sort of understood that was his role within the team, and ultimately it worked for us. So you don't sort of mess with that if it's working.
We beat Leeds United 2-0 at home with a Chris Dagnall brace, which that kind of kicked off that amazing run that we went on, because we just lost 3 on the bounce. I'm hoping this works, but without ruining everything that's going on, can you tell us what's going on here?
What we got? Oh, shit. Well, John Stones played the ball to me, wrong side. So I've stretched for it, turned, and I've been melted by Peltier. Caught me right on the leg, dead leg. And it's one of them, like you get a dead leg and you sort of get up and run it off. But I looked down and I could just see it, the swelling going so quick. It was just filling with blood. So the doc says, no, I need to get in and drain it and stuff like that. So that was the end of my afternoon. Get in, drained it, got some gas in there, and got my shower and got back out to sit on the bench. But I just remember having a wee pop at the gas and air while I was sitting on the bench because it was so good and I was really enjoying myself. And first time ever, I think there's been a mobile phone on a bench as well. It's like just one of them, gas and air. I was like, okay, take a picture. So I had good memories of that. Obviously, not great in terms of getting Stonesy selling me short, like, but it was good memories. That was a good day. Again, beating Leeds. Do you know what I mean? It's your rivals and a derby match, and it's bragging rights and all that as well. And again, we're on that good run, so we just want to keep that good feeling going.
No, it's great. It's great beating Leeds. That's why it ended up on my Facebook. We just celebrated the anniversary of this moment with the club shared some great content. Loads of fans were posting pictures and videos. That game against Huddersfield, is that the most intense or the most important game you've been involved in up until that point in your career?
The intensity didn't really start, I think, till like, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes maybe to go. Maybe less than that even. That's when I felt the intensity. After the Hull result, we just matched Hull up. That was so bold and brave for Flickers, and he said, just go be better than the guy you're playing against, and it was simple as that. And we ran, and to get a result there, Steely made an unbelievable save that game as well. It's sort of, we had that feeling that it's supposed to happen for us, and if we turn up and we work hard, then there's nothing really to be nervous about. And I remember the week leading up, Flickers pulled me and he's saying, I'm going to play you right back on Saturday. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I think we had a couple of injuries. Fozzie was injured, maybe. Was Bobby injured? Anyway, so I think our only other option was to play a young lad there, and Flickers just said, look, I just need you to play there, and it's the last game of the season, just give it your all, really. So the crash course in defending. We I don't know, 2 days before the game or something like that. But it worked out well, and there was no nerves. I never felt any nerves around about the team or the squad. We knew that if we turned up, and to be fair, we probably should have been out of sight at half time because the chances we had in the first half, and we were battering them. So to end up at 2-2 was probably a bit frustrating. And I was on that side, and there was get forward was the shout. With 20 minutes to go, and we need a goal. And so I'm bombing forward, trying to get us going forward and stuff. And I think like 5 minutes later, sit back, and I'm like, you just told me to go forward. And no, Palace have scored or whatever. And that was nervy few minutes, because obviously our game finished first as well before theirs. So I think at that point there was nothing we could have done, and I don't think we realised at the time either. I don't think it was till in the game that we realised that I think Huddersfield needed the result as well. They had to better Peterborough's result, I think it was. So they could have went down as well, if they'd have lost to us. And then I think if Peterborough would have won or drawn and then they'd lost to us, I think they'd have been gone as well. But we didn't realise that. We were so tunnel vision. But when the ball went through to Steely, and I think a few of their players were saying, "Oh, we'll just steady away now, lads. Let's just shut up shop. Game's done." That was a nice feeling. But again, a nervy couple of minutes waiting on the side, waiting for the final whistle to go and the word to come through.
And how much relief and celebrating was there, and how surreal was it to have both sets of supporters celebrating at full time?
That was cool. That, I mean, I don't think I'll ever see anything like that again. The one thing that stands out in my mind was when Steely had the ball. Obviously, they're waiting to do the pitch invasion sort of thing, and I can remember they're standing like on the same line as the linesman, like a yard off the pitch, and there was obviously a good respect there that they didn't go onto the pitch, but you would never see that. Now, if supporters went anywhere near the pitch, the game would probably get stopped, and I think special circumstances and the way it worked out, and the ref obviously just wanted the game over. But the celebrations at the end with the Yorkshire chants and that was good. We had Huddersfield supporters running up to us on the pitch saying well done and all the rest of it, and just waiting for a slide dig to come around the corner, so you sort of get over and get in as quick as possible. But a good day, probably one of my best days in football in terms of the fact that what we achieved from that season, because I never really said that I would celebrate avoiding relegation. Why would you celebrate avoiding relegation? But for what we achieved from the Christmas time, New Year's time was incredible. The run we went on. So, and we obviously had the cup run as well. Or was that the next season? That might be the next season. But a great day, and a great night as well.
So we actually had some stability that summer. Some new contracts were signed. Flicker was in charge. It felt like we had some momentum from the amazing run the season before. For some reason, it never carried through to the start of the next season. Why did it change so drastically?
I mean, I can't recall. When we had a good. Remember, we went away and we had a good pre-season, and I think just like sometimes you just get in a rut and things aren't working, and it's so strange. I think we maybe had a little bit of I don't know, maybe looking back now, it was maybe an emotional hangover from everything that we went through the season before, and it was like, we need to turn up, and we need to do this again, and let's have a good start, to the season. And when the good start doesn't come, you start thinking, this isn't good. And again, you get into a rut, and you're so desperate for that first result, and when it doesn't come, and it's really disappointing, really deflating.
And Flicker obviously left as another manager change came. Danny Wilson came in. What did he try and do, and how did he try and change things to get us winning again?
Well, I think when Flickers left, Mickey took the team for 3 games, Mickey Mellon, and I think we win 2 out of 3 or something. We went away to Brighton and beat Brighton away or something like that. And so I think we were thinking, well, Mickey might get a pop at it. And again, everybody, in terms of when Flickers took over, everybody liked Mickey and that. But then obviously Danny Wilson came in with a good reputation, and we knew that some supporters were happy and some weren't happy, and because he'd obviously worked at Wednesday and United and whatever. Again, it's just a new manager. You need to try and impress him. And the thing for Danny's point of view, though, like, I felt that he wasn't under any pressure to keep us up. That was the sort of feeling that I got. He wasn't under pressure. He knew he would, if we went down, then he'd still have his job next season and stuff like that. That was the sort of feeling I got. And I was a bit disappointed because I'd heard all these good stories, and I know a lad I played in the youth team with, had him at Swindon, and he loved him. Really enjoyed working with him and stuff like that. And I was a bit disappointed that I wanted a bit more. And then obviously I was in and out the team run about that time as well. And January came, and Blackpool were interested, and because I wasn't in the team and my contract was up in the summer, I was like, well, do I go now? Do I not know? What do I do? Because I'm not in the team and I don't really feel a part of it. And there was a lot of chopping and changing, and it seemed at that time it didn't really matter how well you done in training. The team was already picked, and that was frustrating as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, Danny. Like I say, I just felt like at that time, from what I'd heard from other people and lads who'd worked with him before, that I just expected a little bit more from him.
And what was the environment like at Barnsley in that second half of the season? So you're not getting in the team, as you said, and we're getting no joy whatsoever with results. And I think to most Barnsley fans, we could see relegation staring us in the face that year. But was the club okay in terms of like the training pitch, the dressing room, etc.?
Training was good. I always remember the standard was really good. The lads were just sort of cracking on and getting on with it. We had a lot of experience at that time as well. And I don't know. I think when the new manager comes in, you sort of maybe half expect just to naturally get that upturn in fortunes and the performances, and it didn't really come, you know. And I think again that's disappointing, and that can sort of set you back confidence wise, and when that sort of upturn doesn't come. And again, it just didn't come, and nothing really clicked for us. And I think, from a personal point of view, definitely that in and out the team sort of I wasn't enjoying it at that time, you know, which is hard because I'd put so much into the club in terms of, like, I lived here and I didn't really want to leave, and then an opportunity comes up that you could maybe, right, okay, fresh start, and you don't know. It's a difficult decision. So like I say, a bit frustrated and disappointed because I expected more for Danny.
I remember this defeat really well because we never get any look at Sheffield Wednesday ever. But despite Frimpong having that disaster of a debut, and then Jacob Ellis getting a red card, making it 9v10, we'd managed to keep Wednesday at bay until the 97th minute. Was that defeat to Sheffield Wednesday the toughest that season?
Can't believe you brought that up because everybody will remind you now that it was me that gave the ball away for the goal.
I know, but I could see the anguish in your face, so it's almost seen as not a positive. But
no, well, I was on the bench that game, and I think, I don't know, I'd maybe done well in training, and he'd named the team, and I think that was around about the time that I heard that Blackpool were interested, and I was thinking, well, like, if I'm not playing, and it was just my sort of feeling was, it was never that I should be playing. It was never a given that I should be playing. You had to work for it. But when you're working hard in training and stuff, or you play well the week before, and then you're not in the team next week, and I was just getting a bit frustrated at that time. And I think he named the team on like the Thursday. We done shape, and I wasn't in it. And I think the transfer window was coming up, or it was just going to shut or whatever. And I wasn't playing against Sheffield Wednesday. And then obviously it's the biggest rivals in it, and we done quite well as well. The lads done well. We obviously we 9 men, and to be fair, I don't know what I was thinking when the ball landed it to me. I tried to drop it into like Thomas Sifka, who was on the halfway line. This is me backtracking now, trying to like redeem myself. But he was on the halfway line, and if I'd have got the ball to him, he would have turned. I think it'd have been 1-on-1. You know, with a full half of the pitch to get at somebody. I've just hit it short and it's landed, and it's ended up at Chris Maguire. And honestly, that was probably one of my worst days as a Barnsley player, because obviously it was Sheffield Wednesday. It was at the last minute. We were struggling in the league. I mean, I lived here, so the amount of people that didn't let me forget it at that time, that really upset me. That, and don't think I showed my face in town for a good while after that. But that's how much it ate me up, and it wasn't even the disappointment of being on the bench or that. It was just like letting people down, because I knew how much I'd been at the club nearly 4 years, and I knew how much it meant to people, that fixture. And so yeah, for that point of view, it was probably one of my worst days for Barnsley.
I'm sorry I asked that question now. I feel
really
bad.
It's good to get things off your chest, you know what I mean? But I'm sure there'll be people sitting there thinking, brick. So
well, ultimately that season fizzled out. You know, we had back-to-back wins at one point, which gave us a glimmer of hope, but then we lost 5 of our last 6, and it was curtains in terms of Championship football. How somber can you remember the squad being when relegation was confirmed?
It's a bit of a blur. I mean, I think we sort of, like you say, we sort of felt it coming. So we'd prepared ourselves for it in that regard. And I don't even remember when it was confirmed or anything like that. It was just a case of, wow, like, disappointment. There was no shock, really. You know, when sometimes you feel shock and whatever, but it wasn't like that, because we sort of felt it was coming. There was lads obviously coming at the end of contracts, and nobody really knew. And I think that maybe plays a part as well. Nobody really knows what's happening with their contracts, and there's going to be a big turnover again. And it's like, well, you get that sort of feeling in the dressing room that everything's not rosy, and maybe a couple of older lads will sort of come at the end of their career as well, and you know, they're not going to be there next season, and these little things start playing on your mind as well. And again, ultimately, I wasn't really happy in myself at the time at the club, and but that, I mean, that happiness and stuff comes with results. I'm not sitting here saying we get relegated because of Danny Wilson, because it was our fault as players, and that's what it comes back to. We weren't good enough that season, and we just couldn't get out of a rut or get any confidence or momentum going, and in the end we probably deserved to go down, you know.
And what do you think we could have done differently that season to try and stay up?
I mean, I know it's easy to say. I would have stuck with Flickers. I mean, it's easy to look back, and because obviously we weren't really doing it, but from what we'd achieved the season before and how things could turn so quickly, and we could put a run together, and we've seen that, I would have probably give Flickers more time. And then Mickey comes in and takes, like, steadies a ship, and Mickey gets his, like, 2 results out of nowhere from 3. I think it was like maybe a win and a draw, or 2 wins, and from 3 games that we probably weren't expected to get in. And I remember one of them was Brighton, because I was on the bench that game as well, and Mickey put me on the bench. But no, I remember the lads went and got a result at Brighton. And wow, like, this could be it again. This could be it turning for us again. But obviously the club went a different way, and maybe Mickey never even interviewed or whatever for it. So, I mean, you don't see what's going on in the background. But I probably would have stuck with Flicker for a little bit longer.
And then, obviously, it's been a terrible season. We got relegated, but then that summer it appeared we were keen to keep you at Oakwell, and then contract talks seemed to stall, and you end up signing for Coventry City. What happened that made you leave Oakwell?
I remember going to see the manager. Don't know if the season was. I think we'd already been relegated by then. I was just after training one day. I went to see him, and I just said, "What's your thoughts for next season?" And he said to me, "Yeah, we want to keep you. You can really help the young lads here, and we're going to go young next season and stuff." And I was like, oh, "We're not going to win or like go straight back up with just kids." I think I was probably 27 at the time, going on 28. And he was the way he was talking to me, he was going young, and he was saying the things he was saying. The message I got from the meeting was, if you sign, great. If you don't sign, we're not really that bothered. And I was a bit like, I mean, that was disappointing for me, because I gave the club 4 years and I loved it, and I didn't really want to go. And but to get that sort of feeling of he's not really that arsed if I stay or I go. So I said, no problem. That was the meeting, was fine. Went straight round to see Ben Mansford. Just went straight in, like off the cuff, really. And obviously, when you get relegated, start talking about slashing the budgets and stuff like that as well. And I think there was lads still and had another year left on their contract, and they were nowhere near the team. And what the club were offering me was like less than what those lads were on. And I was just like, well, how does that stack up? Like, somebody who lives in the town, and I've given everything for the club, and it's not all about money, but it sort of represents, something. Do you know what I mean? And then, well, it turned out to be the right sort of decision, I think, because when I went to Coventry were trying to get rid of a lad, and he was offered more, and he played my position, and he was offered more than what Barnsley offered me. So the money was there. They just didn't want to sort of make me feel that wanted. And the impression I got from Stephen Presley when I spoke to him was like, we're really pushing the boat. We really want you, and stuff like that. So feeling wanted has always been a big part of me going to a club and or staying at a club. And that was ultimately the reason. Was I didn't really feel wanted at that time, and I wasn't feeling the direction the club was going, with Danny, and obviously with being relegated and maybe going a bit cheaper with kids. And so that was the reason that I went to Coventry. And again, looking back, it was disappointing. That was the way it ended, and I wish it could have been different. But going to Coventry was brilliant, and it was an unbelievable club as well. So, I mean, I was lucky in that regard, from where I came and where I was going as well.
So you went on to play for Coventry, Scunthorpe, Ross County, Bradford, and you're at Notts County now, trying to get into the Football League. What highlights have you had post-Barnsley that some of the Barnsley fans might not be aware of?
I think the biggest one was captain in Coventry. I mean, when I first signed, we were still playing at Northampton and trying to get back to the Rico and stuff like that. And then halfway through the season, we got back, and it was like 30,000 or something at the first game back, the highest attendance in the League One at that time. So yeah, that was special, and to have that atmosphere at that stature of club. And then halfway through that season, Stephen Presley made me captain, and that was unbelievable. Just thing to have, and it was a good honour to have. And so yeah, I think that's probably my biggest highlight. Travelled around a bit from there. Like to think I maybe made an impact at some of the places that I went to, but ultimately I've always, since my Coventry days, my little boy was born down there, and since then I've always been, it's just been as close to Barnsley as I can possibly get. That's the most important thing for me, and that's why I'll always be here.
No, that sounds great. Look, some quick fire questions now, because we're going to wind it down and bring it to a close over the next 10 minutes or so. What one thing, and this seemed to happen more when you were at Barnsley than in any other era that I can remember. We've had some really interesting players come and go. And a lot of them were in some of the squads that you played with. So what can you tell us about these players? I'm going to list 5 or 6. So Gary O'Connor,
very funny. Jack and Ori, like loved telling lies, making up or exaggerating things, and when he was telling you a story, loved to tell you a story. Loved money, just loved cash, talking about Russia all the time, and he had it at that time. I remember a story about Gary where he brought his what did he bring in? He brought his Ferrari in. So he had a Ferrari, this red Ferrari, and he drove it into training. And Mark Robbins pulled him in and he says, "Guys, you can't drive your Ferrari in. Like, you've got lads like who are breaking into first team. They're probably on, I don't know, £300-400 a week, and you're driving in a Ferrari. It doesn't look good." "No problem, Gaffer. No problem. I understand. I'm sorry. It'll not happen again." Next day, drives in a baby blue Bentley. It's just like, fuck's sake, guys. You know what I mean? Good guy, good player, quite underrated. I mean, he's probably carrying a wee bit of timber in that, but when he came to us, but his finishing was brilliant, and a good guy to have in the dressing room. You'd get a laugh at him every day.
And then what about Mido?
Oh, Mido, good guy, really nice guy. He was like, we didn't even realise it, but he was like a prince in Egypt. Do you know what I mean? And he's in, like, I follow him on Instagram, and I don't really speak to him. Like, he's forgot who I am. Like, but he's in better nick now than that. He's retired and he's a manager than he was when he came to Barnsley. And I think it was his sort of last chance to. He maybe fell out with football at the time, and this was his sort of last chance to have a go and play in England and stuff like that. And but he struggled for us. He just struggled to drop the weight, but run about the box and training and stuff like that. Like, get the ball into his feet, and his finishing was top notch. But we couldn't afford that luxury sort of, really, in terms of carrying somebody. We needed 11 lads who were really at it and really athletic, and he obviously just didn't fit in at that point.
I think this one's a favourite of yours, but what about Frimpong?
Just like, you've never seen anything like this guy in your life. Like, came in and he was telling people that he was on loan, and I think his Twitter at that time was like, he's holding the Barnsley jersey and he's put something up like, how am I going to get woman now? Stuff like that, like, because he didn't play with Arsenal anymore, and which is funny. Like, sometimes you don't know how to take him. I clashed with him a little bit, because to say he played with Arsenal, you want to see him in a box. Like, we had a circle before training, like, 2 in the middle or whatever, and keep ball, and he was fucking rotten. And that was frustrating as well, to say that obviously I'd seen him play with Arsenal and he played Champions League and he was good. Like, he was a decent player, and it was like, well, he's obviously coming in and a bit of chip in his shoulder, and but he was a character. He was a character, and I mean, very frustrating guy.
Did you call him a Frimposter?
Frimposter, that's right. I remember that at the time. I mean, we clashed and we didn't really get on, and he was a bit sloppy, and we used to wear suits to the game, and it was like a fine if you didn't wear the suit. And one game he came in and he had jeans on, and like, if everybody's doing something, like, you all do it right, and you had sloppiness, that I sound like an old player here now, but once that sloppiness starts to sort of bleed into the squad, it's like a cancer. It eats the squad. And he come in with like black jeans on and the belt and the shirt and like a suit jacket, and I'm saying, well, that's not a suit, is it? And no tie, and it was just so sloppy at that stage, and little things like that grated on me with him. But again, like, you would always get a laugh with him, and you could get a laugh at him. And I remember when he first came in, he was telling lads he was on loan, and I think it was Steely that went, "No, you're not on loan." Like, he get caught lying about being at the club and what sort of capacity it was at the club. He'd signed until the end of the season, and Steely's like, "No, you're not on loan, you've signed." And he went, "Oh yeah, that's right, I've signed." Well, little things like that. But again, a bit of maverick and stuff, and you could always get a laugh at him. And I like him more now that I don't need to see him every day. But I still like, I follow him on Instagram and stuff, and there'll be a wee comment or a like here or there every now and again. So again, a harmless guy, but just frustrating.
Now, this one's not controversial at all, but he came with a massive reputation as a young Norwegian. Do you remember the striker we had called Pedersen?
Yeah, I mean, he had Marcus had all the tools, strong, quick, decent in the air, great strike. I think obviously he was still young as well, and maybe a little bit of rawness there. Marcus was a good guy. I mean, I spent a bit of time with him. We had a few nights out and that together, and my missus at the time would spend time with his missus and that. And I liked Marcus, good player. And did he go back to Norway after that? Not sure where he went, but I liked Marcus. He was a good guy.
Yeah, I thought he had good potential, just didn't seem to crack it. What about when we got Dale Jennings from Bayern Munich?
Another one, like, I used to crack up at him, and maybe a bit moodier and older and stuff like that. Like he sort of didn't know. Great kid. When he came in, he obviously came with a big reputation, and the things he could do, he was a special player. He was a good player. He sort of reminded me of a younger version of Adam Hamill. That's sort of the way he reminded me. I just remember I was always sort of on him in training when he would try and do too much or run right in the wrong place. And I remember him, he cracked one day, and then Flickr sort of pulled him, and Flickr said, "Look, you don't realise, but he's the first one to sort of say well done when you do something good. So if you're taking that, you've got to take the negative stuff from that." So, but a great talent. Just, I think he had a lot of personal problems in his life. He was a young boy coming back from Germany, and he didn't really know how to cook or anything like that. So I think that sort of let him down. He didn't really know how to live his life, and again, that wasn't a laziness or that. He just didn't really know, and he's just, unfortunately, was one of those lads who could put weight on like that. And but again, like I say, a great talent.
And this one's not controversial in the slightest because we all love him. But when John Stones broke into the first team squad,
just a great kid, nice local lad. I remember he went through a stage of getting a bit of stick off of the supporters as well, and I think I was at the time injured. I remember sitting in the stand and some supporters giving him stick, and I'm sitting there with like his mum's in the same, or his dad or his grandparents, they're in the same part of the stadium, and I know how my dad gets when I'm getting battered, do you know what I mean? And I just remember shouting from the players' lounge, just shouting at supporters, just like, shut the fuck up, he's just a kid, do you know what I mean? And probably shouldn't have done that, but got a bit of stick. But the work and the effort and the determination that he put in, and always wanted to learn, and if you said something to him, he was always wanting to listen, and when you gave him advice, he would always say thank you, and just a nice, humble kid. And I mean, it wasn't long until people were actually like running about the squad were saying he'll go and play for England one day, and he's went and done it, and he's a superstar now. Really, he's a household name. He's a superstar, and I mean, he deserves everything, because even in the summer and stuff, like, we had to come in. I think we had to like do the equivalent of 2 weeks training, but you could break it up, so we'd do like a day on, a day off, whatever. Stonesy was in like every other day, like just grafting, wanting to get better. So little things like that, like, people don't see, and sometimes people think it's luck, or it's not. That wasn't luck. He's a great young player, and he's attitude for the game. He wanted to be a superstar, so that's how he is, a superstar.
And who's your favourite Barnsley manager from the 5 that you played under?
I'll say Flickers, because he was up against it at that time, and that season, or the second half of that season, from what we produced and the way he got his playing and how he dealt with people, and like, he was big on like your families and stuff, so he'd always give you the carrot of, you get a result. It was always like, if we came in after a result on the Saturday and we'd won and we'd grafted, he would always say, right lads, see you Tuesday, give us Monday off and that. And it got to a point where we were like, right, we'll get Monday off here if we get a result. And after every game, we were thinking, right, just shouting, see you Tuesday, and he would go, all right, see you Tuesday. So he was getting people playing for him, and he got everybody together, and it was like there was no backstabbing or bitching going on or anything like that at that time. So I'd say flickers for at that time, but obviously I owe Mark Robbins a lot as well for bringing me here. I mean, if it wasn't for Barnsley, I wouldn't have my son. So in that regard, I probably owe the town and the place everything, you know. So, but it's like I say, it's my club, and it's one that I'll always. It's the first result I look for when I come in on a Saturday, and it's just that and Celtic, and that's sort of it for me.
Nice touch. So look, nothing to do with football. This one. Were any of your Barnsley teammates as talented musically as you are?
Steely could play one song, but obviously when I lived with Steely, I think he sort of knew some basic stuff, and he tried to pick it up with me being in his flat at the time. I can't recall anybody else. I mean, Frimpong will tell you he was in a music video with his cousin or something like that. the Dench thing. No, I don't know. Not that I remember. I might be wrong. But I don't remember anyone at that time. No, I don't think so. Just Steely could play John Denver, which is probably still the only song that he knows. So, aye.
So how does Come Dine With Me with Steely and Precy come about? And then you also had that frame of snooker with Graham Dott at the Metrodome. Are you still signing up for everything and anything that the club wants you to do?
No, I'm too old for that stuff now. I mean, I'll get the guys at the club. I mean, I'm a gobshite. I can talk to anybody about anything and whatever. And the guys at the club at Notts they're always asking me, we do this, we do that. And like, if I think it's cheesy or anything like that, I'll just say no and that. But then I was a young single lad. I was bored. I had a lot of time on my hands, and the Come Dine With Me thing was just a laugh between us, because we used to eat together anyway. So it was sort of, I think it was Mark Stokes at the club. He sort of says, do you fancy doing it? Because I think maybe we'd done interviews or stuff like that, and they would say, who do you spend a lot of time with? And I think I would, because I used to eat with Steely every day. I'd go home, get a sleep, wake up, phone him, say, right, what are we doing for dinner? So it was like we would eat together all the time anyway. So Mark came up with the idea, Come Dine With Me for the website, and it was like, well, we cooking dinner anyway, so aye, if you want. And then the day that he wanted to do it, he messaged me at 4 o'clock. It was in the winter time, so I remember it was dark, and he messaged me and he says, oh, do you want to do it? I'll be around about 5:30. I was like, you kidding me on? Like, I've not even been to the shop or anything, so it was a bit rushed and stuff, and that's how my dinner was so shit as well. I remember Steely and Precy hammered me for it, but then we done a thing later on, like the interviews in it. It was a good laugh. It passed the time. It was a good laugh, and they sort of, as if they were talking about me, but I remember holding a light, and I think people thought that, that was a bit shit on Jim, the way you treated him and all that, but I was standing there holding the light. It was my idea. And we never got to finish it, really. We never got to go to Steely's or Precy's either after that. I think because we had a bad hanging of results, and we probably thought it's not the right time. Yeah. The snooker thing, I like snooker. I always used to go to I used to get tickets off the lad that worked for the Star and go to Crucible. And then they were playing games at the Metrodome, and again, Mark was doing a feature, and he asked me and Steely if he wanted to go because he knew that I liked snooker. So I didn't even play a frame. We had a couple of shots, and that was it, and it was filmed. But it was good. It was a good experience. Again, obviously, Graham Dott being Scottish and that, but no, not so much anymore. I'm getting too old for all that, and it's a bit too cheesy or a bit too out there. And, I mean, I'll do anything for a laugh, but it's not really. If it doesn't come across maybe the way that I want it to, then it's not really for me.
Well, look, I'm sure getting Notts County into the Football League is priority number one, but we all know that if you've read the Chronicle or if you've read the club website, you're taking your coaching badges at Oakwell. Is Barnsley where you prefer to start your coaching career, assuming that you want to start one?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think an opportunity came up maybe for next season, but it's not the right timing for me, and I was getting sounded out, I think. But just the fact that the club the guys running about the club have taken to me and they've helped me and they've been amazing with me, giving me advice, or if I need to ask them any questions, they're all really receptive. And I've spoke to a couple of the head coaches and stuff, and sort of let it known that that's where I see myself going into the coaching. And because, like I said, Barnsley's my town. This is where I live, and it's my home club. And it'd be nice to give a little bit back in terms of helping the next generation coming through as well. And I mean, I never thought I'd be buzzing to be a coach. I mean, you'd think you're going to play forever as well. And I always thought that coaching would be, I'll be a coach. It's the most natural thing. But now, since I've started actually coaching and taking sessions and stuff and working with the coaches and the young players, you get a real buzz at it, and it's something that I definitely really want to do now. And I mean, I don't really see anywhere other than Barnsley to start, really. In terms of you go in as an ex-player, you've got a decent reputation, and you know the guys, and you've got a bit of respect there, and you can learn from them as well. So they obviously feel that you're respecting them as well, because you know that they're a better coach than you. So, but no, I love it, absolutely love it. And you know, if the opportunity comes up and when I retire, and then it'd be great. But I mean, you get to 30 and people start retiring you. I'm 32 and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. So it's just all about timing, really, I think.
Well, look, final question, and I know that the answer to this is on the club website, but just to explain to those that don't know, what is the wiggle?
Oh, fucking hell. The wiggle started as basically it was a joke. My mates used to do it when they were pissed. They would just walk up to, like, you know, if we were on a night out or that, they would just walk up to birds just to annoy them and doing this stupid dance. And it sort of just became a thing. Again, young and stupid. If I seen a young lad now like that, like celebrating like that, I'd probably get him by the scruff of the neck and say, well, what are you doing? Like, you just look stupid. So in that regard, like, sometimes I need to take a step back and think, well, listen, let them go, they're only young lads. But I just started as a joke and my mates done it. And I think we had a game, I used to do it in the dressing room, like when the music was on, like I used to do it naked just for a laugh with the lads. And Vaz Tay used to just sit pissing himself. And he used to score a lot more than me, so he just sort of adopted it as well. So it was just for a laugh, really, and it sort of caught on. The supporters seemed to like it as well, and I think the club, they were printing T-shirts and stuff like that up. And so as long as the club gets something at it as well, then it was harmless, you know.
So you're not using it at Notts County?
No, like I say, I mean, if a young lad done that now, I mean, I'd be saying, like, what you doing? Like, you just look stupid. So, but again, sometimes when I see young lads on social media and their posts and stuff like that, and I think, well, take a step back. You used to do the wiggle, so it makes me, honestly, it makes me cringe. Even when I say the word, like, I'll get people saying to me now, like, oh, where's the wiggle in that? And I'm just like, fucking hell, mate, I'm like a 32-year-old dad, do you know what I mean? Come on. But aye, people seem to like get a laugh at it as well. And I think the goal you put on Instagram earlier on, if you go back and watch it, the goal at Blackpool, when I run over the crowd,
there's the old lady.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'd love to see her, to be fair, but that was funny. That was the first thing I always seen when I watched the goal back. It was her. She's cheering, and when I start to do it, she goes to do it as well. That was quite funny, aye. So that always sticks with me as well. That wee woman doing the dance.
Yeah, I noticed that today when I posted it. It was brilliant. Well, look, Jim, that was fantastic. Thanks a lot, mate, for being so open and honest and going through your seasons at Oakwell and seasons everywhere else.
No problem, mate. No problem. Pleasure.
Sounds like there's a chance we might see you back at Oakwell one day, just not for another 3 or 4 seasons.
Well, I will see. Like I said, mate, it's all about timing, and you know that's my intentions, and we'll see what happens. You know, you never know what happens in football. It's a strange game, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, look, thanks once more. Really appreciate it.
No problems, mate. Nice one.
Well, that's it from us. Everyone at Session 11 draws to a close. We're back at 7 o'clock on Tuesday with our assistant coach from last season's promotion team, Dale Tong. He could also play a little bit too. And then next Thursday, we're streaming live from Calgary, Canada, as former Reds midfielder Brendan O'Connell joins us to talk about those seasons in the early 90s. Just 240 league games and 35 league goals to talk about, so no biggie. Finally, ahead of VE Day tomorrow, we want to end with, to those who gave so much, we thank you, and good night and stay safe, and we'll see you next week.